Hi, everyone. Welcome to 12 Surefire Ways to Protect Your Practice's Reputation while Promoting Your Services as a Health Professional. If that's the presentation you're looking for, you're in the right place, and we'll get started here in just a few minutes. We've still got a lot of people joining us, so we'll give them a moment here to get settled in. Now's a great time if you need to finish up any last-minute conversations, emails, get a drink, run to the restroom, any of that good stuff. Now's the perfect time to do it, and we'll get started here in just a few minutes. Okay, thank you. Hey there, everybody. Welcome again to 12 Surefire Ways to Protect Your Practice's Reputation while Promoting Your Services as a Healthcare Professional. We will get started here in just one more minute. We still got some people joining in, so I'm going to let them get settled in, and we'll get started here in just 1 minute. Thanks. Okay, everybody, let's go ahead and get rolling. Thank you so much for joining me today. Got a good presentation for you here. Should be able to knock it out in about 45 minutes and get you back to your day. I know you're all busy. But today's topic is very important. It's about 12 ways to protect your medical practice's reputation while promoting your services as a healthcare professional. This is a subject that's becoming increasingly important in the healthcare professions. It used to be there was a time when the trust in doctors and dentists and other healthcare professionals really was just 100%. If somebody had that medical degree, then we just put our full faith in them. And there wasn't really a vehicle for anybody to get or give much feedback about their experience with their healthcare professionals. Well, now that is, of course, changing. As I'm sure you are all aware, there are many ways now for patients to find reviews of medical practices and of specific medical professionals, as well as to give feedback on their experience. So reputation, while it has always been important, is becoming increasingly important. And I believe here over the next few years, we're going to see it really revolutionize medical services in many ways. So very important topic. And I hope that by the end of our 45 minutes or so here together, that you're going to have some good, valuable information and tips that you can take away from this presentation to help you going forward. Okay, let's first talk about what is online reputation management. This is a phrase that I'll be referring to throughout this presentation. Online reputation management, or ORM, is the process of proactively using tools, processes, and systems to be aware of and influence the conversation that is taking place about you and your practice online. So that's a mouthful, I know. There's a handful of words here that I think are really important to stress. The first one is process. Okay, process. indicates that this is not something that should just happen by chance. It's not something that should just happen every now and then. This is something that we should put together a series of steps, methodologies that we are consistently working to make sure that we are protecting our online reputation. Proactively is another important word there. Proactively indicates that this is not something that we should just wait for something to be said about us online and then react. We want to do what we can to proactively manage the conversation that's taking place online about us and about our practice. So the last word there is influence. Influence is something that we can, hope to accomplish through this process. We cannot twist the arm of our patients and make them say good things about us online. We cannot twist their arms and prevent them from saying negative things about us. However, we can do what we can to influence that conversation that's taking place and hopefully make sure that that conversation is as positive as possible. So what are the stakes here? Well, the short answer is that everyone is online and everyone has an opinion. And all you have to do is get online and start searching around, and you can see the people out there that are talking and potentially talking about you. Existing patients, ex-patients, competitors, disgruntled employees, ex-spouses, former business partners or investors, and then what we call trolls, where these folks are the permanently aggrieved. They just seem to wake up on the wrong side of the bed each morning and love to share their opinions online. So there's a lot of people out there that are publishing their opinions online. It's very easy to do so now in a wide variety of places. And this, over the past few years, has really begun to make its way into the medical professions. And you may find that if you go out there and search today that you do not find reviews about you or about your practice. That still may be a possibility. But I'm telling you that the pace of this is accelerating at an amazing rate, and it will only be a matter of time before this impacts you and your practice. Reviews and the feedback that people give about a variety of businesses and professions are now at the center of search engines. It was in September of 2011 that Google bought Zagat. Zagat, of course, being the print guides that for decades were the go-to resource to find out what other people, including professional reviewers, thought about restaurants, and then I think and bars, and I think eventually Zagat went into hotels as well. Well, Google bought them because they realized that that kind of information, that social feedback from real consumers, was something that was going to be at the center of what people were looking for when they searched online. So this acquisition allowed Google to start taking this Zagat information and incorporating it into Google search engines for restaurants, bars, hotels. But you can be sure that just because Google has not made a purchase to do this in the medical professions does not mean that they're not incorporating medical professionals' reviews into their search. They absolutely are, and they will continue to drive that forward. And not just Google. This is happening in all the search engines. It's also happening in Facebook, and it's happening in dedicated sites that are 100% about the medical professions and gathering reviews on the various practices and professionals that are out there. So all you have to do is look around. I mean, do a search for dentist office, chiropractors, physical therapists, any medical profession, and you can see that there is now a score associated with the business. That is effectively the reputation score of that business. So this is becoming a very, very prominent part of the search engines and will continue to play a big role in how businesses rank and, of course, how patients and consumers decide which businesses or medical practices to visit. So it's becoming more and more critical every day. You can see here other sites as well. These are sites that are dedicated to medical reviews. And you can see here searches for Denver dentists, Denver chiropractors, Denver optometrists. And you can see all of the review information, how many reviews, how many stars that these businesses have, that these medical practices have. And you can be sure that if I'm a patient looking for somebody to help me with my chiropractic services, I'm not going to sit there and go through the list until I find the chiropractors that are rated 3 out of 5 stars, right? Why in the world would I do that? I stop at these up top that are rated 5 out of 5 and make my decision out of those. So the stakes are huge. This book by Pete Blackshaw, I thought really captured this right. You know, there was a saying well before the internet ever existed that a satisfied customer would tell 1, 2, or maybe 3 friends about their experience, whereas an angry customer would tell 10 or more. And that's always been true, right? The people who have a bad experience tend to talk the most. And I'll show you some statistics actually that demonstrate that very well. Well, in today's day and age, an unhappy patient will tell thousands of their closest strangers, right? Because the internet makes it so easy to publish their opinion and share it socially amongst thousands, tens of thousands, or even millions of people. So this has become a very, very serious issue. Reputation was always very important. Now it's maybe the most important factor out there determining where patients go. So you can see here the negative tilt. This is from TripAdvisor. Now TripAdvisor, has information and reviews on hotels, airlines, cruises, restaurants, so that when you're traveling someplace, you can find good information based on what other people experienced. Well, the information up here is telling. Guests don't post mediocre experiences to social media. They post extreme ones. TripAdvisor ratings have 3 times as many negative reviews and 35% fewer positive reviews. This distorted view could mean millions spent on the wrong things. And it's reality. Okay? It's reality that consumers tend to post more when they are upset. And again, this is consumers related to TripAdvisor services, but I can assure you that this is consistent across any type of business. So you've got to really, really be conscious of the fact that, hey, if somebody has a bad experience, they're telling many, many more people than those that have a good experience. And you need to proactively put those systems and processes in place to try to compensate for this negative tilt that naturally happens. Now, why is this so important for health and wellness professionals? Well, for every half-star improvement in overall score, there's a 37% increase in appointments booked. That's from ZocDoc. And ZocDoc is one of these businesses that is really focused on these online tools for medical practices. So that's amazing. A half-star improvement in overall reputation score results in a 37% increase in appointments booked. That really is amazing. So this has a very tangible impact on your practice. More information here. This one from Dr. Scott Consulting says 82% of people consider reviews extremely valuable in a referral to a dental practice. I would certainly agree with that personally. And your patients are sharing their experiences more than ever before. As I said, there are these dedicated sites out here now that are all about sharing reviews and feedback and reputation of medical practices and medical professions. So professionals, your patients are sharing on healthgrades.com, ratemds.com, ZocDoc, DocLoop, Vitals, and several others out there. A full third of U.S. consumers now trust social media to obtain healthcare information, discuss symptoms and care, and share feedback about their physicians. That's from PricewaterhouseCoopers. So it doesn't matter what you may feel about social media. What's important is what your patients are using social media for and how they feel about it. And as you can see, their use of social media for medical information is growing by leaps and bounds. 49% of dentists use Facebook professionally every day. That's actually very encouraging to hear because absolutely dentists that are smart about social media as well as other medical professions that are smart about social media, can have a real impact on their practice. All right, so hopefully the points here that I've covered so far, prove to you that this is a very, very important issue to consider, and it will only continue getting more important here as we go forward. So let's go ahead and transition into 12 surefire ways to protect that reputation while promoting your practice and getting you more patients. First of all, let's talk about what makes up effective ORM, or effective online reputation management. Okay, there's a few things here. One, it should be both proactive and reactive. Ideally, that's tilted way towards the proactive side of things. Okay, we should have proactive processes and systems that we're using to try to influence that conversation and influence our reputation online. However, there will be times when maybe negative things come up about our practice online or about some of the professionals that work for us online, and we want to make sure we have a process thought through on how we're going to react to those things in advance. It should combine marketing, SEO, public relations, branding, sales, and customer service, and it should cut across all core business functions. It needs to be very well understood at your practice that everybody that works there has a real impact in your online reputation, and all of your business functions play a role in making the patient experience top quality so that they have only the best things to say about you when they're talking to their friends, whether it's online or off. Okay? Now, there are 5 core principles of online reputation management as well. Number 1 is to listen to what your patients are saying. Okay, listen to their feedback so that we can learn from it. 2, contribute to the conversation. Look for ways to contribute positive content and positive information about your practice and about your healthcare professionals so that you're getting good information, positive information out there as well. 3, delight patients by exceeding expectations. And of course, that should be, our objective in all cases, as much as humanly possible after we have done our first job, which is to provide excellent health care, right? But also providing a great experience is becoming more and more important. 4, collect feedback, referrals, and testimonials, and use that information effectively to promote your practice. And number 5, plan how you will respond before you need to. So listen, contribute, delight, collect, and plan. Let's start with listen to what your patients are saying. There's a couple ways that you can do this, a handful of tools that are fantastic. Now, there's, of course, good old surveys and things like that, which we'll talk about later, but I'm talking about how you can hear the conversation that's happening online that today you may not even be aware of. One of my favorite tools is Google Alerts. Google Alerts is a free service from Google where you can type in a search query into the Google Alert tool and say, notify me anytime that combination of words is mentioned online. Okay? So let's just say that the name of your practice is Simpson Medical Associates. Just making up a name there. And so you could type in Simpson Medical Associates into this search query, and Google will alert you anytime that comes up online. So if somebody goes in and types up some sort of review about your business and about your practice and mentions the name, then that will trigger an alert to you so that you can go and see what people are saying. It's a very, very useful tool. And you can put anything in there. You can put your name in there, your practice name in there, competitors' names in there, whatever you'd like to do. All right, other tools that you can use is very, very important. As we showed you earlier, people are using social media to discuss medical care, medical professionals, the practices that they go to, which ones they like, which ones they don't. So you want to be able to observe those conversations as well. The best tools for being able to observe and also participate, I think, are TweetDeck, Hootsuite, Social Mention. Those are all great tools that, again, you can track what is being said about your practice or about certain keyword terms on the social media sites. Okay, so those are 2 very useful tools to help you listen to the conversation that's happening online. All right, next is contribute. You want to contribute to the conversation in a meaningful way. So why do you need to contribute? It's a great question. Well, you can't control what people say about your practice, right? But you can make sure that you're adding enough to the conversation to ensure that the ratio of positive to negative is in your favor. And this is really, really important. I mean, consider if you were to, let's say you were going to go out to a restaurant tonight, okay, in your town there, and you were to do a search online to find, let's say, the best Italian restaurant. Well, if you were to go and do a search for the best Italian restaurant, and up comes 10 different Italian restaurants, and let's say that they all have 100 positive reviews, okay? But one of those restaurants only has one negative review, and the others have anywhere between 25 and 100 negative reviews. Because they all have 100 positive, but one only has one negative, and others have 25, 50, or 100 less positive or negative reviews, right? Well, obviously, you're going to lean towards the restaurant that has the greater ratio of positive things being said about it. Well, the same thing goes for your medical practice, okay? So you want to make sure that there's good, positive content from patients that are happy, that are thrilled with your services. And also, good, positive content that maybe you've created and you've published. Good, helpful content that patients of yours may be interested in finding online. So it's important that you contribute to the conversation. So let's talk about how to do this. First, you want to make sure that all of your profiles are captured and set up correctly in the major directories and networks. Okay, so you've probably all heard of things like Yelp, TripAdvisor, right? And then we just went over some of the more medical focused ones like ZocDoc. Okay, so these sites are known as directory sites, and these sites are out there building a massive directory of every type of business, whether it's medical or not, so that people can easily find information about them online. So what you may not know is that your practice has profiles on these sites and many, many others that may be incomplete, may be inaccurate, maybe have things being said about you that you don't even know and nobody is responding to. So it's really, really important that you look at the major directories and the major networks that have these business profiles and make sure that you have taken control of your profile, that you've made sure that all of the information in it is accurate and complete, and that it represents you the way that you want it to. Okay, otherwise you don't know what's being published about you online. Next is you can start blogging. Okay, blogging is a fantastic, very easy way for you to post information that you've created about healthcare topics, about maybe some of the training that you've recently received, about important news for patients, about maybe new doctors or dentists that you've brought into your practice that you want people to know about. So blogging is a really, really simple way of getting that kind of information out into the world. And again, that's content that's up there that is positive content that consumers have a chance of finding, right? Patients have a chance of finding. So from Manhattan Research Survey, it says 60% of physicians say that they either use or would like to use social networking sites to engage with patients and enhance their reputation. Well, blogs is a fantastic way to do that. Making educational videos, okay, and posting those to YouTube. YouTube is a massive, massive source of traffic and visibility for your practice, and it's become the go-to place that many people find information. Okay, that's the reason that Google bought YouTube many years ago, is that the traffic going to videos is just absolutely huge and continues to grow at an amazing pace and at a consistent pace every single year. So you can see here a doctor from a chiropractic center creating an educational video talking about taking care of your spine. This is a great opportunity to relate to your patients and get more good content out there. And it's really important here, if you notice this quote here from Forrester, the statistic, any given video stands about a 50 times better chance of appearing on the first page of results, search results that is, than any given text page in the index. So By creating videos, not only do you get the engagement of somebody to be able to watch you and hear you, but you actually have a really, really, really high chance of actually getting that video to show up in the search engines. All right, next is delight. Right, delight your patients and be easy to work with. Again, this is something that maybe historically medical professionals maybe didn't have to worry so much about. It was more just, hey, I'm going to give you the treatment that you need, and the service doesn't necessarily have to be 100%. Well, that has definitely changed. In today's day and age, people are looking for service in their medical experience, not just to have their problem solved, right? So it's really important that we consider, how do we delight our patients and be easy to work with. Most important, I think, is creating a service culture at your practice. Okay, what has been shown in all kinds of service businesses is that happy employees equal happy patients. So how do you create a culture where the folks working at your practice are happy to be there, that they feel recognized and rewarded, and they feel like they have the tools that they need to do their job very well and effectively? That's how you create a great experience for your patients as well. One of the most important things that I believe you can do is establish metrics and rewards that promote a good patient experience. So have surveys done from your patients to find out what their experience was like, and reward the people on your team when those numbers are moving in the right direction. Encourage all employees to collect testimonials. This is a huge one. As we said before, there is a natural negative tilt where people that are satisfied with your services will tend not to leave any sort of testimonial or review unless you make it very easy for them and you proactively ask them. So we should encourage people to collect those testimonials. And then share those testimonials with your team. Let them know that everything that they're doing is making a difference. Number 7 here is to start using the Net Promoter Score. You may or may not have heard of Net Promoter Score. It's been a very, very popular survey methodology for the last, say, 10 years or so, that brings a lot of objective data to this process of learning, hey, are our patients happy with us or not? And are they likely to promote us to other people, or are they likely to detract from our online reputation or from our reputation in general? And it's a very, very simple system, and this says actually promoters plus detractors equals Net Promoter Score. It should say promoters minus detractors equals Net Promoter Score. But it's a simple one word or one sentence survey that makes it very, very easy to get good, consistent feedback from patients over time. If you just get online and search for Net Promoter Score, and actually if you search for Net Promoter Score, for doctors or for dentists, you're going to find good information for you that explains what it is and how you can use it. But it's a very, very effective tool. Number 8, say thank you. Say thank you to your patients. Patients that refer you, patients that bring in good, consistent flow of new patients for you, patients that have been with you for a long time. There's lots of things that you can do to thank them that are very easy, that go a really long way. Edible arrangements, one of my favorite. It's always fun to see those. But there's also some much more inexpensive and simple things that you can do. Postagram, really cool thing where you can just send like a little note with a picture using your camera and using your phone to just easily send something out. Handwritten notes, right? A little old-fashioned, and people love to get a handwritten note. To see that somebody actually took the time to write them a thank you is a huge, huge deal. So simple little things that you can do to say thank you can go a long, long way. All right, next is collect. Collect patient feedback, referrals, and testimonials. So using free or paid survey tools is a great way to get patient feedback. Survey Gizmo and Survey Monkey are two of my favorites. Very inexpensive, very easy to use, but still pretty sophisticated tools that allow you to collect information. So you can send these out to people via email. You could have a little iPad sitting in your lobby with survey tools. So as people are leaving, you could ask them to fill out the survey. Lots of easy ways to collect this information. But what's important is that you make a habit of collecting it so that you can put it to use. And then set up multiple channels for receiving voluntary feedback. Okay? On your email signature, you could have an opportunity for people to click on a link and fill out a survey and give you feedback. You can have web forms on your website. On any bills, invoices, receipts, anything like that you send, you can have an information collection opportunity there. If you send out newsletters, right, you can include the opportunity there. So there's lots and lots of ways to make sure that you're getting these opportunities to give feedback out there to your patients. And the key is that you do it as many ways as possible to make it very easy on everyone, because some people are going to prefer to fill out a survey right there in your lobby. Some people are going to prefer to do it in the privacy of their home later. Some people won't think of it at all until they see it on an invoice, and then they'll, consider it. So you just want to make it easy for people to give you feedback. All right, next is the plan. It's always better to have some dedicated processes around this stuff, to have a thought-through plan than just improvising when something has gone wrong or something has come up. So I think that's most important when you are responding to any sort of negative buzz that's out there. You want to have a plan in place before you need it, right? Because when it happens, you don't want to be figuring out your plan, and you don't want to go into scramble mode and not have thought through an appropriate way to respond. So let me give you 8 steps here that I would have you put in place. Number 1 is to listen. Number 2 is to decide whether to engage. It's not always worth it to respond to negative feedback online, but sometimes it's definitely worth it. So you've got to decide. You've got to have your criteria for determining when it's worth it or not. Number 3 is apologize. Apologize for the bad experience that they had. Whether or not you think it's true or not, take the high road and apologize. It goes to show other people that are reading these reviews that you do take accountability, because they don't know the truth. All they can see is that, hey, this doctor or dentist got a bad review, and it seems that they are willing to take responsibility. They're apologizing for it, and that's pretty much all you can ask for, right? Then affirm your commitment to making it right, to fixing the situation. Okay? Next is to take it offline. Ideally, you want to get this conversation offline. You don't want the whole thing to play out in an online forum. There's too many things that can happen there. There's too many things that can, be perceived wrong. So take it offline. Have a phone call with the person. Maybe invite them out to a cup of coffee. Talk to them. Show that you're dedicated to learning from the situation. And then, of course, once you've done that, it's time to move on. It's time to spend a little bit of time reflecting on what did you learn and what could you do differently at your practice to avoid those types of situations going forward. And then, of course, act on whatever it is that you learned and decided there. Make some sort of change at your practice to ensure that bad experiences don't happen going forward. Okay, so 8 simple steps there, but something that's really worth thinking through and putting some documentation in place to help guide you when something does come up. Number 12, build a referral system. Okay, build a referral system. Now, as I mentioned before a couple of times, people are less likely to leave you positive feedback, and they're less likely to refer you unless you have a very easy, proactive system for them so that they really don't have to think about it. You just make it simple for them. So collecting referrals should be an active and methodical process. Okay, this is one of the easiest ways to quickly grow your medical practice. But it's got to be a process. It's got to be proactive. It's got to be consistent and methodical. So there are lots of ways that you can put a system in place. Everything from the gift certificates, thank you notes, online referral engines. There's a number of things, and these things work together. Multiple pieces of them work together very well. So there's a lot of opportunities out there for you. What's most important is that you just put something in place, and then consider creating a referral reward system, right? I can tell you for sure, at my dentist, I've probably brought in 15 new regular patients to my dentist. And my patient thanks me every once in a while with, something just as simple as little Starbucks gift cards. But you know what? That's a nice token. It's a nice gesture, and it goes a long way towards me feeling, warm and fuzzy towards my dentist, right? That I'm being appreciated. So consider some sort of system like that that encourages people to continue bringing you new patients. Okay, that's it. I'm going to go ahead and open it up for questions here. So down below this presentation, you'll see the question box there. Go ahead and type in any questions that you may have, and I'm going to answer a handful of them here, and then I'm going to let you get back to your day. If I don't answer your question right here on the spot, then what I will do is I will make sure that myself or somebody on my team gets back to you here in the next 24 hours to answer your specific questions. Okay, but big takeaway from today that I hope everybody gets is, look, you can't control what people say about your practice. You can't twist their arm and make them say certain things, but you can exercise some control over the larger conversational context that they say it in. Okay, so proactive online reputation management is all about making sure you're adding enough to the conversation to ensure that the ratio of positive to negative is in your favor. All right, so that's what it's all about. Now, you may be wondering, what am I going to do with all this information? I'm busy. I'm taking care of patients. I'm trying to manage my practice. This seems like a lot. I certainly understand that. It's important, that you understand reputations take years to build, but they can be damaged in minutes. So even though you are busy, you want to make sure that this gets taken care of. If you have any questions or you'd like any assistance at all with this, we'd appreciate the opportunity to talk to you about it. We offer highly specialized online reputation management services to help you protect and grow the practice you've worked so hard to build and the reputation you've worked so hard to build and invested so many years in education in developing. And that's something that you don't want to play fast and loose with. That's something that you really want to have a dedicated system for managing and protecting, and that's what we do for our clients. So you will see all of the information around this presentation about how you can contact us. We'd love to help you. It's not a high pressure sales pitch, but if you do want to get in touch and have a conversation, we'd love to talk to you and see where it goes. Okay? So let me go ahead and get a sip of water here, and then I'm going to answer a handful of questions, and then we'll get you back to work. All right, so we got a handful of questions in here. One person just asked if this was recorded. Will they get a recording? Yes, we have recorded this. I'm sorry I forgot to mention that at the beginning, but we have recorded this, and we will get you a recording out here in the next 24 hours. See, your next question says, I have actually a couple of negative reviews online, and I don't think they're fair or true. Is there anything I can do to get those negative reviews removed? The short answer, I would say, is no. It's kind of a tricky question because there are actually cases where, if you can prove that, hey, this is just absolutely, this is somebody just being negligent with your reputation, there's no truth in it, then can you get it removed? Yes, that has happened. However, it's a really, really risky proposition to get into that, to get into the business of trying to get bad reviews taken down. The reason why is the review sites obviously are trying to protect the fact that, hey, businesses sometimes get negative feedback, and we have to have an unbiased, truthful site. So they want the negative reviews up there where they believe that they're deserved. So you can put yourself into a bad situation with those review sites. So just be careful. There's also been many, many legal situations that have been caused by this. Lots of this being played out in the courts right now. So you just want to be careful. I think the best strategy to get rid of a negative review is not to, have it removed, but rather to bury it under positive reviews. So again, do your best to put in the practices that we've discussed to make sure that you get as many positive reviews out there as possible. Pretty soon, that negative one will just be a small, it'll be a drop in the bucket, right? So let's see here. Are there ways to get reviews on mobile phones and mobile devices? Yeah, absolutely. So there's a number of apps and tools that you can use to make it easy for people to submit from their mobile phones and mobile devices. And that is absolutely important because people are on their mobile phones so much. That's oftentimes when they're deciding to leave a review is, when they are out walking right after right after their visit at your practice, or they've hopped in the car and they're about to drive, back to work or whatever, they'll take a minute and post that review right there on their phone. So yeah, there are tools out there that you can use to make that easy. Um, let's see here. Somebody asks, okay, this is a chiropractor. Yeah. And okay. So, ranking in the search engines is incredibly important for chiropractors. Very, very competitive. And this gentleman is wondering, are the reputations determining rank in the search engines? And the answer is yes, absolutely. Now, the search engines take all kinds of factors into consideration, not just reputation. So, it's not to say that that is the only thing that's driving ranking. However, we can absolutely say without a doubt that they are taking ranking into account when they are showing search results. Because, look, if you search into Google for, chiropractor in New York City, and there's a 1,000 chiropractors in New York City, well, Google has to have some way of giving you back the information that they believe is going to be the most relevant for you, right? And there's no reason in most cases why they would show you a bunch of poorly reviewed chiropractors when they can show you a bunch of chiropractors with strong reviews, right? It just wouldn't make much sense. So yes, absolutely, reputation and reviews are playing a big part in ranking now, and we believe that that is only going to continue that reputation and reviews are only going to become more and more influential in search engine ranking. So yeah, if you are in a field where search ranking is really important, where it's really competitive, then absolutely you must be driving forward your reputation proactively. Okay, 3 good questions. I'm going to go ahead and cut it off there just because I promise you I want to keep this under 45 minutes and get you back to your day. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And I appreciate so much. Thank you for your attention. And again, if you have any questions about this, if you'd like any help in implementing systems and practices, processes to make sure that you are protecting your reputation online and using your reputation as effectively as possible to drive more patients into your practice, that's what we do, and we'd love to talk to you about it. So if that's the case, just get in touch, and thank you again so much for being here, and I look forward to talking to each one of you soon. Take care.